There it is.
This is Talkin Hoopz, the show that discusses real NBA stories, gives you all the latest rumors, and gets you into heated debates.
It's dunks and layups. How many of his points have been jump shots? 0.
Not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5.
0.
It's not happening. Not in this NBA. Maybe in the fantasy NBA that they're playing in, but not in this NBA.
We're going to challenge each other in practice.
We talking about practice, not a game.
Once the game starts, I mean, it's going to be easy.
You better get off whatever you're smoking.
Strap in, get your popcorn, put your headphones on.
This is Talkin Hoopz.
It's Rudy Gay checking out Talkin Hoopz.
Talkin Hoopz.
Talkin Hoopz, the official talk show of NBA Miami.
Talkin Hoopz starts right now.
Talkin Hoopz. TalkinHoops.com. Little break for a while, but we're back. NBRPA Miami chapter. NBRPAMiami.com. Carmelo Anthony has decided to opt out of his contract. LeBron James has decided to opt out of his contract. Where are they going to go? What's going to happen? We got all that and more. We'll talk about some potential deals. Not too much happening, but we'll get to that. And maybe a little bit free agency. But getting into the show, Kyle, it's been a little while, man. How's it going over there?
Yeah, it's been few weeks, yo. I'm good. Everything is good here. I know you went on a little vacation, right?
Yeah, it's in Aruba. I know for once I have something interesting to talk about. Saw some nice girls, nice thong bikinis. It was a good trip.
Okay.
I know Strick would be here telling me he sees that all the time in Miami, but you know what? We live in the tri-state area and don't get to see the European chicks all the time. So
hey man, speak for yourself. I'm in New York. I see everybody all the time, all cultures, all nationalities.
Listen, there is no
live in the middle of nowhere in Jersey.
There's no thong bikinis walking around New York.
No, they're walking around.
No, maybe
are
I don't
walking around.
I don't see
Strick
thong bikinis in New
can't
York.
see any of that anyway. He's at home crying because the Heat lost after he was talking all this smack about how the Heat are going to win a championship. And then they lose, so now he's at home crying. So
Actually,
he can't see anything anyway.
Actually, what Mark did say that, but he also said I'm pretty sure it was he said whoever is going to win game 4 is going to win the series. And
that's fine, but he said that later on. I'm talking about during the season, during the playoffs.
Yeah. Well, that's right.
Winning championship, blase, blah, blah, blah.
Who said the Spurs the whole time?
You did.
I did.
You did.
I want credit for that.
I thought when they went on that, would they go on an 18-game winning streak during the season, something like that? That they peaked a little too early. I thought that probably would have drained them. And think about it, they really ran through the postseason and didn't have a lot of trouble, except
for Dallas,
which is insane.
It's not that insane though, because Dallas is an underrated team, and I told you that. I told you Dallas was going to be the hardest team they play in the playoffs.
But is Dallas better than Miami?
I mean no, they're not better than Miami.
But they almost swept the Miami Heat.
Right.
And you look at Dallas pushed them to the brink of elimination.
Right. Well, I think, first of all, Dallas kind of woke the Spurs up. I think it was like they kind of showed them it wasn't going to go. They didn't want it to make it so easy. But I think, look, you talk about teams that are 8th seeds all the time, and they're 8th seeds for a reason. But I thought Dallas, again in the West, was a very underrated 8th seed. Okay? And they've beaten some good teams throughout the regular season. It's not like they have only beat crappy teams.
No, and they started playing well toward the end of the season, and they had that momentum sort of going for them. But still, at the end of the day, when you look at how San Antonio just crushed the competition, and how good they look, they even look really good against the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Right.
And they picked apart everybody that they played except for Dallas. And I think they were a few mistakes away from not even getting out of the first round. When you think about it.
But they came through. They blew them out that last game. You know, they came through.
Yeah, but they were a few mistakes away from losing that whole game. You know, in the previous games.
Right.
Ball goes one way or another. It's insane when you think about it. I know Dallas is a better team and they play in the West, and Your record maybe doesn't really reflect how good you are because you're playing against such high competition every night. But still, they're an 8 seed. That's a number 1 seed. That's a team that killed everybody. It was just a little surprising.
Well, while we're on Dallas, actually, there were reports that they're going to possibly go after Pau Gasol. And you know what? If they bring the same team back and they just add Pau Gasol to that team, I mean, that's a pretty solid team in the West right there, in my opinion.
Well, yes, I agree with that. But the only thing with that is that it's not going to be the same team. You got to think about who's a free agent, and you got to think about can they retain some of these guys.
Right.
You look at Dirk Nowitzki. He is going to be a free agent. Now, both sides said that
willing to take less
money.
money.
Come together pretty quickly, right? And it's going to be a deal that's fair for both sides. But you still got to re-sign Dirk. That's not done. So you got to factor that into the cap.
Right.
Sean Marion, he's a free agent. Okay, he's not even a restricted. He's an unrestricted free agent.
Right.
So he probably won't be back. You don't know what's going to happen with him.
Where would he go? Like, what teams? I haven't heard anything about teams talking about Sean Marion. You hear about
outside of LeBron and Melo, I haven't heard anybody talk about anything in terms of free agency. Look, no, I don't think any free agent, whether it's restricted or unrestricted, is going to be signed until LeBron and Melo fall somewhere. Because every team, you have to think every team is going to make their best possible case to sign LeBron.
Right.
If they have to trade away players to make that money free, they're going to try and do it. If they have to amnesty a player, they're going to try and do it. They're going to try and do everything they can to sign LeBron. So until LeBron and Melo are off the market, I don't see any rumors about anybody going down.
See, and I think it might actually be vice versa. I think other teams are going to make moves to kind of try and bring Melo and LeBron to them. Make it enticing for them.
But that takes away potential money from your cap. Because if you want to convince LeBron, right? You either have the money or you don't.
Right.
And if you have the money, you have to say to yourself, well, we need to allocate a certain amount for LeBron.
Right.
And he's going to be a max, if not near max.
Right.
So if you sign a player, that only takes away from giving LeBron your best possible offer.
Well, I'm talking about, I saw online the Cavs were thinking about trading away the first overall pick, which is not really uncommon at this point. They have not necessarily, especially last draft, that was probably the worst thing they could have done with the first overall pick. So get some talent, get something for it. It's the most valuable pick to trade. It's a pretty valuable asset, especially with people talking about who's in this draft. They're talking about looking at Orlando, giving them a Flalo and the 4th overall pick and the 12th overall pick. I mean, some people look at that as a strong move to get LeBron. I don't know how it's a strong move by bringing in Aaron Aflalo.
That's a trade, though. Remember, we're talking about free agents.
Right.
We were talking about where will these free agents fall.
Right.
That's a trade. That's a different story.
Right. I guess that makes sense. It is a different story with a trade. But
I don't think anybody's getting signed until LeBron and Melo make up their mind. Because A, you want to have as much money as you can to sign these guys. And B, when you meet with LeBron or Melo to give them your pitch, you want to be able to have as much flexibility as possible. You don't want to remember, these guys, they want to have input on the roster. They want to be able to weigh in on who they like, who they don't like, who they think they'll fit with.
Right.
So if you crowd the roster with guys and then say, well, we just gave this guy a 3-year deal, hopefully you'll like him, it's a lot harder to sell than, hey, after we sign you, we're still going to have about $6 million to spend. We can go out there and get whoever you think we should get.
Right.
And you can help recruit that guy.
Right. And you got Carmelo saying he wants to be a part of personnel decision. Yeah, you might be right.
So you want to have as much cap flexibility as possible if you're bringing in one of these guys. So I can't see anybody getting signed at any point until those two pieces fall. Once those two pieces fall, then it's going to be a free-for-all.
I'll tell you.
You're going to see all the crazy things happening. Who's going where? Blah, blah, blah.
I don't think Carmelo and LeBron are going to play together in Miami. I don't think that's going to happen. I know Stephen A. Smith said it was 95%. And if he's right, look, this guy knows everything then because he was right about LeBron's decision. And if he's right about this, I'll be really impressed. But I don't see it happening. I don't think Carmelo wants to win that way. If you're assembling a big four like that, it's just giving him a championship for nothing. He's not really fighting for it. He's teaming up. It was hard. A lot of people knocked the big three. A lot of people said the big three was too much. They should win every year. Blah 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 blah. Everyone wanted them to lose. Creating a big four, that's got to start a buzz for being one of the craziest things to happen in sports. And
look, everybody said when the big three win, it's not going to be the same thing because they kind of came together and formed a super team. But they have 2 championships. Do you hear that at all? Do you hear anybody saying, "Oh, LeBron has 2 championships," but
right?
No, everybody just says he has 2 championships and that he went to 4 finals in 4 years.
Right.
So if he goes there, I don't think anybody's going to hold that against him. But at the same time, everybody has to take a pay cut. Now, remember, Melo, if he signs somewhere other than New York, he's already taking a $30 million pay cut.
Right.
Remember, the Knicks can offer him $30 million more than any other team over the course of 5 years.
Right.
So if he does leave the Knicks, he's already leaving $30 million on the table. Is he going to now sacrifice again on top of that $30 million just to play with LeBron and Wade and Bosh? And let's not forget, I should say, Wade, he's still a very good player, but he kind of dwindled down the stretch in that postseason.
Right.
Chris Bosh completely disappeared. That's the second time in 2 years in the finals where you couldn't really find him. He went MIA, no pun intended. So I don't know. I don't know if A, that would work.
Right.
I don't know, B, who they would be able to surround them with, because remember, Mario Chalmers is a free agent. They probably won't be able to bring him back. Udonis Haslem has a $4 million player option.
Right.
If he picks that up, that's another $4 million in cap space eaten up by Udonis Haslem.
Right.
Okay, Shane Battier, he's gone. Ray Allen, you don't know if he's going to be gone. So who can they actually bring in
Right.
to play with those 4 guys?
Well,
you need more.
You got to remember also Mario Chalmers. He could just leave, and Norris Cole could just be the guy. Okay, Norris Cole could end up being the starting point guard, and I don't think anyone would have a problem with that. He's shown that he can handle the load. He actually, I think, had a better postseason than Mario Chalmers did.
Yeah, well, in the playoffs, in the finals, he and Chalmers both had really bad games.
Right.
And they had games to forget.
Right, but overall, I'm saying if you don't bring back Mario, it's you get some cap space back that way. The other thing is, though, look, we talk about the Big Four, okay? Would you be surprised if the Big Four won a championship?
I don't know, to be honest. If
Really?
Melo went to Miami, I think obviously the pressure would be on them to win. Look, I also don't think
But if they won, would it surprise you? If they act
no, it wouldn't surprise me.
Exactly. And I think Melo, if he goes there and they form this Big Four, great, they won multiple championships together, but everyone knew they were going to. It's not look, when Melo goes to Chicago, they become an instant contender. Okay? But you're not sure they're gonna win a championship. You know what I'm saying? If Melo went to Chicago, you're not sure that they're going to win a championship. That he definitely has a good chance, but I would.
No, if Melo went to Chicago and the Big Three, let's say LeBron left Miami, Chicago is the odds-on favorite to win the East easily.
Right.
But on top of that, even if LeBron returns to Miami,
right.
I think Chicago leapfrogs Miami still.
Okay.
Derrick Rose and Melo and Joakim Noah.
But I'm saying but still, there's a chance that they could lose because there's other good teams out there. Look, Chicago could finish the season with 60-plus wins. Miami could finish with 2 wins less than them. Just like Miami didn't finish first. Indiana finished first.
Yeah, but what's the point that you're getting at?
But the point I'm getting at is you put a Big Four together, everyone just kind of figures they're going to win a championship, and when they do, no one's surprised.
Yeah, but who cares?
But I feel like going to Chicago, because that's not how you want to win a championship. That's not to me, that's not winning a ring. That's someone giving you a ring.
No, because who cares? Every year there's an odds-on favorite to win it all. Every year one team is picked by odds makers to win it all. That has the best shot of winning it. Right. So Miami would just be that team. There's always one team every year.
To me, it would be more.
One team. But at the end of the day, who cares? Melo wants a championship.
Right.
How he gets it doesn't matter. In 50 years from now,
but then
he's going to have the championship. Nobody's going to be like, yeah, but he had this guy on the team. No, he has a championship. A championship is a championship. He's 30 years old.
I
Does
disagree
it matter
with
how
that.
he gets? As long as it's legal and he's not cheating
I
to get
disagree
it.
with that. And I know this on a different scale, but the way I see it is, look, there are guys that didn't even play a single minute in a game that have a championship ring. You know?
Yeah, and a championship is a championship.
Adam Morrison has a
though.
championship ring.
Look, nobody is ranking Mario Chalmers ahead of Patrick Ewing because Chalmers has multiple rings and Ewing has none.
No, but
at the end of the day, Mario Chalmers is like, hey, I got a championship, you know, and that's what you want. You want a championship on your resume. You want it to have for the rest of your life.
You're looking at a guy that is almost like a legacy type of player in Carmelo, and you know he's got his own legacy. He's a top player in the NBA. You know, will he go down as one of the greatest ever? I don't know. We'll see how he finishes his career.
What you're saying about Melo is the same thing you can say about LeBron, but nobody says that about LeBron.
Agreed, but now, like, look, LeBron got a lot of heat for making a big three. Now Melo's going to the Heat and making a big four. I mean, that's the odds to me.
Is it really a big four, though? I mean, I know we like to say it, but in reality, is it a big four? I mean, Chris Bosh.
I think it's a big four.
When was the last time? Did he even make the All-Star game last year? I mean, when was the last time Chris Bosh was considered a top 10 or 15 player in the league?
Well,
3 years ago,
take him off that team,
Wade, though. I mean, think about it. Is Dwayne Wade a top 10 player in the league right now? I mean, we like to say Big Four because these guys have been such superstars. But going into next season, is Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade really seen on the same level as Durant, Melo, Westbrook, Harden, Howard?
See, the reason
really on that same level?
I think a lot of people look. It can go either way, but I think a lot of people say yes because Chris Bosh took sacrifices coming to Miami. He was the guy that had to sacrifice. Dwayne Wade sacrificed his game so LeBron could be the guy so they could win. You know, these guys made sacrifices. If LeBron goes away and Dwayne Wade becomes the guy again, and look, he's got injury problems. I get it. He's got a lot of injury problems. But if his injuries hold up, yeah, he's a top 10 player in the league. And Chris Bosh, if he goes back to averaging 24 and like 12 or whatever he was doing in Toronto with a couple of assists, yeah, he's a pretty solid player. But he sacrificed because he wanted to win rings in Miami with LeBron James and Dwayne Wade. So I don't think I think Chris Bosh's numbers may not show, but you know, put him on a different team where he's the guy. Yeah, I think he's better than a lot of other players in the NBA and maybe a top 10 player in the league. Yeah.
You think Bosh on a different team is a top 10 player in the league?
If it's his team and he's got the ball, he's getting all the touches, Kyle. So you gotta assume.
I understand that.
Right. So you gotta assume that Chris Bosh is gonna put up over 20 a game. Okay. And you got to assume if he's the guy and you got to figure he's gonna grab double. How many rebounds does he grab in Miami right now?
Like maybe 6.
Right. So on his own team, without a LeBron, without a Wade, I'm going to say...
But Bosh is the big man on the Heat. He should be getting way more than 6 right now. Like, in terms of rebounding, he should be the man. Maybe not scoring, but rebounding he should be. I mean, he doesn't play with any real center ever. He plays with Birdman and Haslam. He doesn't grab any rebounds still.
Yeah, well... Birdman's there for rebounding.
Okay, let's put Chris Bosh on a different team, right? And he's the man on whatever other team he goes to, right? Let's just do that. Would he be better than Durant?
No.
That's what.
But Durant's
at... Wait. I just want to see if he falls outside of the top 10.
Okay.
Durant, no. LeBron?
No.
Harden?
No.
Westbrook?
Actually, Harden's kind of overrated, though, no?
27 points per game overrated? He averaged 27 points per game last season.
He shoots like a ton of shots.
You can say the same thing about Melo, then.
You can.
Yeah, but that doesn't make them bad players.
That's why. By the way, that's why Melo's not going to Houston. That's exactly why Melo's not going to Houston. I'm just
wait. Let's just finish before we go to that. Hold on.
Okay.
He's better than Harden.
No.
If you can build a team right now, are you taking Harden or Bosh?
No. You take Harden.
Okay, so that's 3.
Okay.
Westbrook.
No.
LaMarcus Aldridge.
No.
That's 5.
Right.
Dwight Howard.
No.
Blake Griffin.
No.
Steph Curry. Steph Curry.
All right, no.
Paul George.
Oh,
you take Chris Bosh over Paul George?
No, it's not. You know what? Paul George scares me. Can you pick somebody else? Paul George. Do you think Paul George is a top 10 player in the league?
Yeah, I actually do.
I love your face. No, I don't know. Like Paul George is like he has games where he looks amazing, and he has games where it's like you got to stop shooting, dude. Like you got to stop shooting.
All right, then I'll pose it to you like this: who would you rather build a team around right now, Bosh or Paul George?
Bosh by himself. I feel like you know what.
You'd rather build a team around Chris Bosh than Paul George.
I don't know if Paul George is. I think Paul George may be top 15. I don't know if he's top 10.
Okay, but I'm saying between Bosh and George, who are you picking?
Well, the only way I say George is for youth, but if I wanted a team that like it depends on how I'm building my team. You know, they're two different positions. Chris Bosh, though, power forward, center.
I'm just talking about players. Who do you want to have on your team, Paul George or Chris Bosh? If you can pick one guy on your team, who would it be?
I guess we'll go with Paul George.
That's 9.
All right.
Chris Paul.
Yeah, I guess Chris Paul.
Kevin Love. That's 10. Chris Paul is 10, and Kevin Love would make 11. So I'm only 11 deep without even looking at any list at all.
Right.
You know, just off the top of my head.
Right.
And already Bosh is out of the top 10.
Yeah, but where see, like, give me Bosh on his own team from before he went to the Heat, and guess what?
You can't say before he went to the Heat because we're talking about.
But that's
right
what I'm
now,
saying. Like, you know what? I'm gonna backtrack. Wait. Okay. If we're not talking about Bosh on the Heat, he's gonna have his own team. I'm taking Chris Bosh over Paul George.
Why?
Because I think he's gonna be the same player he was in Toronto. That's why.
Okay, so you would rather take. You ready for this? You would rather take. Let's see.
What was his numbers in Toronto?
Wait, you would rather take Chris Bosh going on age 31 than Paul George, who's 24. Chris Bosh is going on 31 years old. Paul George is 24. Paul George last season averaged 21, 3, and 6.
Right.
Okay? And Bosh averaged 16, 6, and 1. So you want to take a 31-year-old Chris Bosh, who, again, completely disappeared in the playoffs, than Paul George, who's 24 years old.
You know, again, look, Bosh, yeah, he's 31, but again, he's sacrificing his game in Miami. And that's overlooked. That is overlooked.
He's 31 years old going into next season.
I get it.
Paul George is 24 going into next season.
I get it.
And you'd still rather take Chris Bosh over Paul George.
Look, I said if you're going strictly with youth, but if you're talking about one season, who am I going to win a championship with? All right? Then I'm taking Chris Bosh. I want to win now. I'm going to milk this guy for what he's got. I
swear to everything, you will not find one person walking this earth that will agree with you. And I think you're just saying that to sort of support your cause, and you're not being true to yourself. Because if you really thought about it, I mean, you got Paul George, who's like a first-team all-defender, who's an all-star.
He shot under 40%. No, he shot under 40% from January to the end of the end of the season.
So he shot under 40%, and you'd rather have Chris Bosh instead?
On his own team. No LeBron, no Wade. This is my franchise guy.
Also, he shot for the season as a whole 42%.
Okay. That's not great, by the way.
Okay, but
that's not great. Don't tell me that's good. That's not a good percentage. People knock 44% is not a good percentage. 42% is definitely not a good percentage.
Okay, 42% is not a good percentage. Who is a good shooter to you?
A good shooter
that has a good that you think has a good field goal percentage.
Oh, JJ Redick.
Would you? Who?
JJ Redick.
No, that plays forward.
That plays forward.
Not a shooting guard who shoots. That plays a small forward position similar to Paul George.
Well, let's now you're gonna make me break down all the small forwards here. What's DeMar Derozan shoot?
DeMar Derozan, I'm not sure. I can tell you. Hang on.
Going DeMar Derozan.
Okay. Let's see. DeMar Derozan last season shot 42.9%. Shot the exact 0.5 points more than Paul George. So if that's your definition of a good shooter, then Paul George is on par.
I was just getting percentage. I didn't say he was a good shooter. I was trying to...
I said who's a good shooter to you, and you just gave me DeRozan.
No, all right, whatever. We'll go with it.
My point
We'll go
is,
with it.
the guy plays small forward. He's not going to shoot 48%.
I'm not saying Chris Bosh because look, I'm not even the biggest Chris Bosh fan.
I just don't understand how you
But
take
when
a
he's
guy-
by himself, he's a different player. I don't give a crap if he's 31 years old.
I understand he's a different player, and I understand that. But I can't understand how if you had a team to build, you're going to take a 31-year-old player over a 24-year-old player who over the past 3 seasons has gradually increased and become one of the best players in the NBA.
I hope that Chris Bosh leaves Miami just to prove my point that this guy could still ball and he could still put up big
I'm not saying
numbers.
he can't, but we're talking about Paul George, who's being considered by many as the
I mean, look,
next
you
great
build
thing.
a team through youth. That doesn't mean because he's younger, he's a better
I'm not talking
player.
about youth. I'm just youth. I'm not doing that. But when you're 24, your ceiling is still above you. When you're 31, you're not going above your ceiling.
Right,
It doesn't
but we
happen.
know what Bosh's ceiling is, and it's still really high.
Bosh's ceiling
By himself
right now,
is a
going
high
on
ceiling.
31.
What did he average his last season in Toronto?
Chris Bosh's best year ever was 24 points per that 1 year.
Okay.
Every other year in Toronto was 22, 22, 22, 16, and 11.
Okay.
So his best year ever was 22 points per game.
Okay.
So we're talking about his ceiling.
Right, and what about rebounds?
His best year rebounding ever was 10.7.
Okay.
10.8.
Okay. So 24, 10.8, and how many assists per game?
Yeah, do you really want to say 2.4? 2.5?
For a big guy, that's solid. Big guy that has the ball all the time. Look, all I'm saying is his numbers are pretty solid. 24, 10, and 2 is not bad at all.
I'm not saying it is,
It's-
but you're talking about that is probably what he only did that 1 year,
Right.
so you have to figure
I'm gonna
if he
say-
couldn't do it during the prime of his career, how is he ever going to do it now going on 31 when he goes to his own team? But wait, what about Paul George? Can we talk about his numbers?
Okay, let's talk about Paul George. We're debating this too much, though. What I'm saying is, you're saying is Miami's still a big three. And yeah, you know what? Those numbers on a different team, that's a big three player, yes. Chris Bosh.
Yeah, but he did that in 2009-10. Can he do that at 31 years old?
If he's 31 years old, so what? Maybe he'll put up 22, 23, 22 points a game on his own team. Maybe he'll grab 9 point something, 10 That's still pretty solid. And maybe he gets 1, 2 assists. Yeah, he'll probably still get 2 assists, maybe even more. Because Miami showed him that he could pass the ball.
Because he's got last season, 21.7 points per game, 6.8 rebounds per game, 3.5 assists per game, 2 steals per game. We're talking about a guy who can make who makes the all defensive team.
Right.
I just think Paul George is A, younger, B, more rounded of a player, and 3, ceiling is way above his head. I mean, we're talking about a guy who could potentially average 25.
Let me see it, and then he's a top player in the league like that. But let me see it. You're going off potential. I'm going off of
potential. Those numbers will also make him a top player in the league right now.
If LeBron James isn't with Chris Bosh, Dwayne Wade isn't with Chris Bosh, we see a totally different Chris Bosh player. Great fantasy player, probably goes high. Probably gets picked before Paul George in fantasy too.
No way. Paul George is way more, fills out the stat sheet way more than Bosh ever can. Paul George literally does every single thing. Steals, rebounds, assists, points, 3-pointers. Bosh does half of those things. Okay? Bosh doesn't get steals. Bosh just started shooting 3-pointers. Is he a 3-point shooter? Would you call him a 3-point shooter? I mean, he doesn't do half of the things that Paul George does. Paul George will fill out a stat sheet for you every night.
All right. We got to move on from this. We've been talking about Paul George and Chris Bosh way too long.
Well, just because I don't think that, and all those guys that I mentioned, remember earlier that I mentioned all that list?
Yeah.
Do you put Dwayne Wade ahead of any of them right now?
Well,
Seriously?
Wade's injuries just killed everything for him.
Okay, and you got to factor that in. But do you put Wade ahead of any of those people?
No.
Okay, so that's what I mean. When we say big four, how much of a big four is it really?
It's still a pretty big four. Let me ask, is Wade a top 20 player in the NBA?
I don't know.
Well, that's what I mean. But Chris Bosh, I'm going to say, look, if you don't think Chris Bosh is top 10, he's at least a top 20 by himself. And Dwayne Wade, at least the top 20.
To make it a big something. I mean, to me, a big three was 3 superstar guys who were in the top 10. And that's what it was in 2010. You had 3 players. Remember, Bosh was coming off a 24-10 year. Okay? Wade was an amazing player. LeBron was the best player.
Well, wait.
And that to me is a big
Is
three.
Dwayne Wade an all-star? Is Dwayne Wade an all-star? In your mind?
No.
No.
In my opinion, no.
Okay. So Dwayne Wade's not an all-star. He's not an all-star. Well, yeah, okay. So that immediately eliminates a big four. Because if Dwayne Wade's not an all-star...
And neither is Chris Bosh, in my opinion.
Okay. See, I think these guys are still all-stars. Even
Dwayne Wade is going to make the all-star team next season?
Especially if he's healthy? Yeah, I think he will.
Okay. I can't see... I don't know. I just can't see Bosh, making it...
Look, if Dwayne Wade didn't have health problems... Would we be talking about Dwayne Wade being a top?
You can't say that because he does.
Right, but let's say next season he comes back, he's at full health. Like you got now.
Had too many knee surgery. I don't think you can be. He can be ever okay. Look, when he went into this season, he was as healthy as possible. He had nothing going on, but they still had to limit his minutes and they still had to limit his playing because they thought his knees would flare up during the season. Remember, He didn't play back-to-backs. That's how you have to treat him now.
Look,
is that a big four?
My opinion.
Wade can't play back-to-back.
I get what you're saying. I totally get it. My opinion: Carmelo Anthony, LeBron James, Chris Bosh, Dwayne Wade on the same team. That's a big four. That just is. That's how I see it. That's how I hear it. It's a big four.
Wade can't play back-to-backs. Is it a big four when a guy can't even play every night?
No, I mean, I'm just saying Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, Carmelo Anthony, LeBron James. I say that to myself. That is a big four.
They're probably not making the All-Star team. So how could they be a big four if they're not even? If they probably won't.
If Melo comes to the Heat, someone's gonna have more sacrifice is gonna have to happen if Carmelo Anthony comes to the Heat. So I wouldn't be surprised, if Dwayne Wade doesn't make the All-Star team because obviously Melo's not going to stop shooting. He's going to get his numbers. LeBron James is obviously going to get his numbers. Bosh's numbers are probably going to drop even more, and Dwayne Wade's numbers are now going to drop. Someone's got to sacrifice.
I just think, and I just think
there's no way possible to have all these guys average what they could average on their own teams together. It's physically impossible.
No, I know that, but I just don't think that. Even with that being said, that those guys aren't better than other players in the league now. I mean, you look at Bosh in the East, right, and you compare him to Al Jefferson, who's a big man, right? I don't think he's better than Al Jefferson. You compare him to Al Horford, who missed almost all of last season. I still don't think he's better than Al Horford. Paul Millsap. I think Paul Millsap has surpassed Bosh in terms of and I size him up to other guys in the league, and then I size Wade up to other guys in the league, and I just don't think it would. You can call it a big four because it's fun and their names are so big. I just don't think it really is a big four at this point. Like they would need Melo just to be in championship contention. That's why LeBron has opted out. The reports are he wants to see the Heat make improvements.
Right.
So it's not enough now. Bosh, Wade, and LeBron is not enough to win a championship now. They need those other pieces.
Right.
Or they're not going to win, And if you had a big three like you did in 2010, I don't think you need other people.
Right.
Like you can get away with a subpar pieces.
I get it. Okay, but here's another thing.
Just so you know,
I don't think he's going to Miami. So this could be a total waste of a discussion. So let's move on. Here's something I want to hit you with. Okay, before you go get a drink of water or whatever you're doing.
Oh, no. You see, I tried to let you know my computer is dying and I got to charge it up.
Okay. This is what I wanted to talk to you about. So, Carmelo Anthony, the Chicago Bulls seem to have a mutual interest. Coach Thibodeau would love to coach Carmelo Anthony, hopes he comes to the Bulls. Joakim Noah hopes he comes to the Bulls. The Bulls are in a tight spot, though. They have to gut their roster a little bit to bring in a guy like Carmelo. And how do you look? They're saying if the Knicks don't agree to some sort of sign and trade with Carlos Boozer being involved, and obviously they don't want Carlos Boozer, and I don't blame them for not wanting Carlos Boozer.
Right.
then they would still have to get rid of Taj Gibson somehow.
Right.
What if I'm the Bulls? Taj Gibson is a key piece to me winning. And I know Carmelo Anthony's a great player, but this is a guy you want on the team with Carmelo Anthony. This is not a guy you want off the team to acquire Carmelo Anthony. Because now, who is he coming to play with in Chicago? A 10-game per season Derrick Rose, a DJ Augustine, a Joakim Noah, and a Mike Dunleavy. And a potential player in Tony Snell who would probably have to be involved in any trade involving Carmelo Anthony.
You don't have to get rid of Taj Gibson. You don't have to.
So what do you have to do?
You have to either amnesty Boozer or trade him.
Okay.
You have to get rid of Mike Dunleavy. That's who has to be traded, is Dunleavy.
Okay.
And then you are pretty close to being able to land Melo.
Pretty close is not landing Melo. He would have to take some sort of pay cut too, right?
He would have to take a bit of a pay cut, yes.
Right.
But
now, he's already taking a pay cut leaving the Knicks. Because you said $30 million's on the table. So now he's going to take even more of a pay cut. Well,
how much do you want a championship?
Well, how much money do you want to lose?
It all comes down to, if you really want to win a championship, then you will take a pay cut.
Right.
And he's got endorsements.
I get it. And
coconut water, and he's got the headphones, and he's got the Jordan brand. You know, he's on Team Jordan, so he's got his own sneakers and stuff. He's making a lot of money off the court.
Listen, I don't care how much money he makes off the court, okay? Endorsements aren't going to last forever. He's not a lifetime endorsement type of player. This is like, he's got his run in the NBA as being a top guy, and then his endorsements stop. You know, that's it. It's done. So his contract, it's going to be huge. And when he decides, look, everyone reports Melo's all about his money, too. He wants his money. Stephen A. Smith said that.
No, he said, but Melo said publicly.
I know what he said publicly, but you can't tell me. Look, he's already leaving $30 million, okay? So he's already taking a huge pay cut.
He's still making a ton of money.
Now, what if they don't win a championship?
Like he's not making any money.
And what if they don't win a championship?
That's the risk you run wherever
That's a
go.
big risk to lose out on all that money. When, let's say Melo leaves, goes to the Bulls, they don't win a championship. He took a huge pay cut, and he came out empty. And the Knicks are having all this success. Well, granted, I don't even know if that's possible, but I'm saying that's a lot. That's going to be factoring in his mind too, I think. If I leave, is this obviously, is this the right decision? But if I leave and we don't win a championship and I'm losing all this money, was it worth it? Yeah,
but you run that risk wherever you go if you leave the Knicks.
Well,
because you're going.
And what if he stays in New York where he actually likes to be and they win?
Does he like to be here? Do you know that for a fact? I don't know that for a fact.
I mean, he said he doesn't want to leave. He's come out and said that he,
Yeah, but if
Go ahead. What are you reading?
No, sorry.
Kyle just had a moment.
If you leave the Knicks, you run into that issue wherever you go. You know, I left money on the table to win a championship, so you can't hold that against Chicago.
Right, but the difference is LeBron left money on the table and he won too. I don't know if Melo's going. Like you said, look, I don't know.
He's made so much money. He's been playing under the max contract for years and years and years. He's made a ton of money. He's got endorsements going on right now where he's making money. He said the most important thing to him right now is winning a championship. So now is where you put your money where your mouth is.
Right.
This is where you prove that that's the truth. Because you will sacrifice the money to win a championship.
Right.
And let's face it, it's not like he's going to be making $1 million per year. He's still going to be making like $10 to $15 million a year, even though he's not making the max. So it's not like he's making chump change here.
No.
He's pulling in a lot of money.
No,
still.
but he's Carmelo, man. He's Carmelo Anthony.
I just think you can't really say he's going to do one thing or another, or he loves. Look, does he love New York? Probably. How much does he love New York? Does he really want to stay here? I mean, he said in that recent interview that was released, even though I think he did it like last month, the one on Vice, that it's hard for his family. He doesn't want to do that to his family. And then he also said, I can be having a great game and I make one bad play and then the crowd will start to boo. And I think to myself, like, what the hell is wrong with these people? Well, it's New York, and he made that comment. And I feel like if that's how he feels, like he questions the Knicks fans when they start to boo. As a fan, I think you're entitled to boo or cheer whenever you want.
Look,
I'm paying
Patrick
$4,000.
is Patrick Ewing a top 50 greatest player in NBA history?
Yes.
Okay. Did he win a championship in New York?
No.
So there's honestly, so Melo doesn't win in New York. Big deal. He's still one of the greatest players. You know what I mean? Like,
But we're not questioning that.
no, but I'm saying, but like, so
correct.
Patrick
I'm not
Ewing got
saying that
booed. Everyone gets booed at some point. It's New York, like you said. So that comes with it. That's part of what makes New York so great.
Yeah, but if you want to consider Melo, if Melo ever wants to be considered not a top 50 player, if he wants to be considered alongside of LeBron or Kobe or Magic or
Right.
Wilt or Jordan, he has to at least have one. You can't even put him into the conversation without him having at least one.
Right.
So, yeah, he plays in New York, but at the same time, look.
Wait. Okay, wait a minute. Okay, wait a minute. We say LeBron James the best player in the world right now. Maybe the best player ever. Some people can argue that. You got Patrick Ewing, didn't win anything, top 50. Where do you rank Melo then right now? Like, all time, do you think he's top 50 worthy now?
No.
So if he wins a championship, is he top 50 worthy?
No, but
so he's never going to be in that. He's never going to be there.
Let me finish. Jeez, let me finish. Why are we saying right now? He still has 8 to 10 years. If he gets a ring and he still plays at this level or around this level, hell yeah, he's a top 50 player. Probably better than that. He's probably a top 25 player if he gets a ring. Why are we ending his career after next season?
Okay, so so if he gets a ring, I'm not. I'm saying like if he continues the next 6-7 years to pretty much put up the same kind of numbers.
Right.
Okay, and he gets his one ring.
Right.
He's top 25 player all time.
I could probably make the case for that, yeah.
Okay, but LeBron James already with his multiple rings and if LeBron James didn't have a ring, if he still didn't have a ring, where do you rank LeBron?
LeBron would be a top 50 player to me without a ring.
Okay.
Right now.
But not better than Patrick Ewing. Better than Patrick Ewing.
Yes,
not better. He wouldn't be better than a top 50 player that's won one ring. But it's LeBron James. So look, Charles Barkley is up there too. He didn't win anything. But I'm saying, like, look, Carmelo Anthony, he wins one ring. That's, even then, you're talking top 25. LeBron, Wade, I mean, he's still not cracking a top 5 all-time player. You know what I mean? Like,
LeBron?
No, Carmelo Anthony. So, if he wins like 4 rings the next couple years, then maybe. But right now, we're not even putting him in the top 50.
Right.
So I just see, like, if he wins one ring and he automatically jumps up to 25, and that's all he wins, to me, he's failed in that regard. Because he's trying.
I think LeBron with no championships would be better than, and I'm looking at the list of top 50 players of all time as it is right now.
Like how you do that. See, I don't
Nate
have the
Archibald won one championship. I put him ahead of Nate Archibald right now. Even if LeBron had none, I would rank him ahead of Nate Archibald right now.
Okay.
And that's a guy who's on the top 50 players of all time.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So I think LeBron would be better right now than some guys who are on that list with only one championship.
How about no championship?
Of course, he would be better than some players with no championships. But after I said that, you said, would I rank him ahead of anybody with one championship? So
Right.
that's what I was answering.
Right. Okay.
I mean, his career, I'll bring up LeBron's career points. Let's see. He's got, let's see his career numbers here. Where's career numbers? He's got to have, let's see. Now it's going to take me forever to find his career stats here.
Well, wait. Okay, let's also talk about something else here. The draft's coming up. Carmelo Anthony, LeBron James. Any sign and trades involving those two players happen during the draft? I say no because they have to experience free agency.
Wait, so LeBron has, I'm sorry. I just want to get this off my chest
Okay,
here.
get it off your chest so we can...
23,000 points right now LeBron has.
Okay.
Nate Archibald, who played, his full career, has 16,000 career points with one championship.
Okay.
So LeBron is 7,000 more points in less time. You know what I mean? Paul Arizin, who, forgive me, I don't even know who that is, but he played for the Warriors from 1950 to 1962, has one championship and also has 16,000 points. So, yeah, I rank LeBron ahead of him. Charles Barkley finished with 23,000 points, and that's where LeBron is right now. So, Rick Barry, he's on the top 50 players list. You know, he has 0 championships. I put him ahead. Oh, he has one. I'm sorry, he has 1 championship. I put him ahead of Rick Barry. There's a ton of guys that I rank LeBron. I could probably make the case for LeBron, if he had 0 championships, to probably be a top 30 player right now.
Okay.
You know, maybe even top 25.
Okay. Okay.
It's that real.
Right. That's LeBron, though. That's you know, I get it. Like, you know, it's LeBron James. But, you know, guys like Carmelo Anthony, they haven't won a ring yet. If he does win one ring, that's still a lot to, you know, a lot to go up against to make it to a top 25,
Sure, but that's why he wants to go to a team where he can win a lot.
Right, but well, look, we'll see what happens. But these guys got to experience free agency. And do you see any deal happening at the draft? Anything like that involving these two guys, or especially Carmelo Anthony, really? Because
the Knicks trading Melo at the draft?
Yeah.
We have to find a team that would need a sign and trade. You know, there are some teams that can sign him outright.
Right, but he's made it clear that he wants to experience free agency. So,
yeah, but if he goes to a team, let's say he picks the Bulls, you know, and the Bulls have a hard time, you know, working it out, they would have to do a sign and trade.
No, I agree, but I'm saying he can't talk to teams till July 1st, right? That's
right.
when. Right, so that's after the draft. So that
right.
can't. So no deal is going to happen at the draft with these guys.
Well, Melo could, without meeting with anybody, say I'm leaving, just so you know, and Chicago is at the top of my list. So just so you know, that's what's going down. I mean, if Melo gave them the heads up, you know, if he respected the Knicks franchise and he had it made up in his mind, like, look, this is where I want to go. Either, you know, work out a deal,
right.
or, you know, or you guys are going to be screwed. Then you could see a deal.
Yeah, but I don't see a deal on the draft even then because they haven't met with them yet.
I know they haven't met with them.
He wants to. He made it clear he's never experienced free agency. He's not going to experience it again. He's again just dictating where he wants to go.
Right.
He's got to get courted by teams. They said Dallas, Atlanta. Those are 2 other teams now that are interested in Carmelo Anthony. They're going to try and meet with him. So I don't think he gets moved. No matter, even if he says, yeah, I want to play in Chicago. I don't think he gets moved.
Okay.
I still think he's going to re-sign with the Knicks deep down. And
I can't see that. I really can't.
I do. I think he's going to stay in New York. I think, you know, they said a meeting for the most part went well with Phil Jackson and Derek Fisher. I just don't think he's going to leave, you know. And he said he's very happy with Phil Jackson. He likes the direction of the team.
Look, I think he's gone. I don't think he wants to wait around anymore. I mean, the Knicks had a shot when they first brought him in. Then the next year and the next year, and now they're in rebuilding. Does he want to stick around another year for a rebuilding team?
Right.
I mean, next year they're not going to be good. They still have Bargnani and Stoudemire on the roster with all that money, and Felton on the roster. No draft pick this year.
Right.
It's a rebuilding year next year. That's it. They got it. They're going to be bad next season. They're going to be a lottery team.
This is what I think.
He's 30 years old. Does he really want to wait around?
Right. This is what I think. I think Phil Jackson is going to pull some sort of trade. Like I said, maybe Tyson Chandler gets moved at the deadline. Something is going to happen to make Carmelo Anthony intrigued. Look, I'm not saying they're going to do anything next season, but if they could somehow get the 8th seed in the playoffs, that's enough for Carmelo Anthony to stay in New York one more season. He said he just wants to be on a competitive team. He does. Look, he'll contend.
No.
He said that before.
He wants to be on a championship team.
Agreed.
Competitive team doesn't cut it. He wants a ring.
Right, but he said, look, next season with the Knicks, if he wants to be on a team that can at least make the playoffs.
No. He's past that point. He made it very clear. He wants a ring.
He said so many things, Kyle. He said so many things, Kyle. He said that, Kyle.
That's why he made it. That's why he said, look, it's not about the money. It's about winning a championship now. Okay? That's what he said.
Right.
That's why he made that money comment.
Right.
You know, everybody said, what's it going to be? Do you want to take the money because you can make $30 million more with the Knicks? And that's why he came out and said, look, man, it's about winning a championship. And you want to do what you want to do. You're saying you want to trade Tyson Chandler to make it intriguing. You want to make the Knicks competitive for next season. You are following in the footsteps of Isaiah Thomas and James Dolan. Look, the Knicks are in great position right now. In 2 seasons after this season,
Right.
when they're terrible, they're in a great position to have Chandler, Bargnani, Stoudemire all off the books.
Right.
And completely reset and be able to sign all these guys that are going to be free agents.
Right.
If you trade Tyson Chandler, the only thing you're going to trade for is a guy with more years on his contract.
Look,
Chandler has an expiring deal. Why get rid of the expiring deal? Let
Right.
it expire and get all that money
Look,
back.
if you want
The
Carmelo,
only way you're trading Chandler, you're not going to trade Chandler one expiring contract for another.
I'm not
It doesn't
saying,
make
look, I'm
sense.
not saying you're not getting something for your future when you trade this guy, okay? And look, maybe it's a package deal. Maybe more is involved. It's not just Tyson. You got to give to get. Obviously, it's not like you could just trade Tyson Chandler for an all-star player. But I'm saying you could put something together to bring in a guy that's worth going forward with in the future. You know, like,
So you're telling me somebody's going to trade a future asset that is going to be something in the future for a 1-year Tyson Chandler?
Well,
who's doing that?
well, wait. Well, what are they getting in return? They're getting that expiring contract, like you said.
But they have a guy that's already worth something that they're giving to the Knicks that you think is going to be this game changer. Who's giving that away for Tyson Chandler?
Well, we don't know yet. Let's wait and see what Phil Jackson. Look, I just think Tyson's gone. I do. I just have this feeling he's going to get traded. And if that makes Phil Jackson a bad GM, well, we can't judge it until the season starts.
If they trade an expiring contract when they can get $11 million free after next season for a guy who's going to eat up money going forward, it just doesn't make any sense. It's
Look,
stupid.
you gotta.
Why? You're not going to be good next year. Just face it. The Knicks are not even probably going to make the playoffs.
I know you
next
go
year.
on this though. You always say stuff like that, and you know, like, look, not even just as a fan. I'm saying you could say stuff like, look, like, realistically, this isn't gonna happen. This is not gonna work. This isn't gonna work. But look, if a trade happens, if they pull a stud out of the draft, and all of a sudden
They don't have a pick.
if they get a pick, you're talking like, you know, like, that's what I'm saying. Let this guy work his magic. Let me ask something. You really think Phil Jackson?
They don't even have a pick. if
You
they
you
pull
think
a stud out of the
you don't think
draft.
Phil Jackson he's not going to make any moves on this roster? He's not going to do anything.
He's handcuffed right now.
I
The things he can do are very limited.
we'll
You are
see.
speaking as a fan.
Said half the team's gone next season, and you're saying he can't. That's not possible.
You are speaking as a fan right now. The Knicks are not
I'm
going to be
going
good
by
next
what
year.
Phil
I just want you to
Jackson
realize
said.
that. They're not going to be good next year.
Phil Jackson said half the team's gone next season.
You realize that they're not going to be good next year. You realize that.
Okay, I swear to God, if they're good, I am never going to let you live this down.
You realize they're not winning a championship.
No,
next
they're
year.
not winning a championship next season.
So then who cares how good they are?
Well, they got to be
Isn't
good
it
enough
about
to
winning a
compete.
championship?
They got to compete. Last season, they didn't even compete.
So you just want the Knicks to compete? That's
Well-
what you want to see next season?
Carmelo wants to see that.
He wants a ring! He doesn't want to compete! What's wrong with you? Everything he said up till now is championship.
Yeah, if the team competes next season and the following season they get the free agents they need to get rings, then I think he stays. He goes one season for Chicago and they don't win, like, it's a waste. You know what I'm saying? Like, that one season that he wanted to compete, he's not winning. He didn't win.
You run that risk wherever you go.
That's why
It's
I don't
not
think.
one team.
That's why I don't think he's gonna leave though. It's a risk.
Doesn't
It's
make-
a risk. I don't think
Doesn't
he's
make sense.
leaving.
The Knicks, they just don't have any assets. They got nothing. They got nothing.
Oh,
They've
again,
got
look,
nothing.
we got to start wrapping up the show here. All right, but look, we'll see what happens with Carmelo. We'll see what happens with LeBron. Though, like you said, I don't think.
Let me just get this in real quick.
Go ahead.
Melo's leaving? Okay, fine. You have all that money? Go after LeBron! If Melo doesn't resign, you got all that money, go after LeBron and make that pitch to LeBron.
All right.
Look, next season we got all this money, come aboard.
All right,
You want
words
that
of
ring?
words of wisdom from Kyle. Talkin Hoops, TalkinHoops.com, NBRPA Miami chapter, NBRPAMiami.com. Strick, hope all is well, man. Haven't seen you in a quick minute. Catch you next time on the show. For everybody, for all your info, for everything, TalkinHoops.com. Check them out and enjoy the draft.
Until
Talkin Hoopz comes back into play, stay connected by getting at us on iTunes. Keep up to date with all the latest basketball news and rumors and check out all our shows by logging on to talkinhoopz.com.
Catch you on the rebound.